didn't take long to tell on you, and we heard that you ran out of gas on the lake. Can you comment on that?
Well, I'm a guy that I'm going to empty my tank, so you'll get everything I got.
You'll run it dry, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
What's the feeling with them getting used to you and you getting used to them here through spring ball and now leading into the first game?
I've got a great comfort level, I think, with each other. It was a pretty seamless transition, at least on my part. I felt there was a real strong willingness from both players and coaches alike to buy in, to learn what we wanted to do, and to accept the things that we were demanding of them. So it's been really good. Been very pleased with their attitude.
How much can you, because they've got a new OC there, I mean, I don't know how much you can really look at their game film from last year other than from a personnel study. I mean, they're doing some different things.
Yeah, and he's got a very extensive background, has been in a number of places. So, he's obviously emphasized, the desire to run the football in a lot of different types of ways. He's been in systems where they've run the quarterback. He's been in systems when they've been in the eye backs and running the power and the counter game, and off of all that's a really strong play action passing game. So he's been in the spread. He's been in 3 tights and 2 backs. He's very extensive and very multiple in the things that they do. So try to find a happy medium, the balance of what it is that they do, the bread and butter of what they do, and then kind of go from there.
Coach, talk about how exciting it is for you just going into a first game to see what you've got when real bullets fly, because you haven't had a chance, obviously, to see that.
Yeah, that's kind of the unknown for me personally, how our guys are going to respond, learning the different personalities, their temperament on game day, the toughness that it takes to face adversity that's inevitably going to happen. And just to see who's got that competitive edge to them, who the leaders, what type of leaders emerge, and again, the mental and the physical toughness that game day demands. We're going to find out real quick, who's ready for it and who isn't.
Is it kind of unique, maybe exciting for you, because it's been 13 years since you've been in a situation like this, where it's totally new, where you're going into a first game like this?
It is. Since I've been here, it seems like every day there's something that's new and it's the first time. So. That's exciting, and it's also a little bit unnerving. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't, but that's part of the challenge to grow from a professional standpoint, and but it's been a lot of fun, and again, the challenge of facing a new a new platform, if you will, a new stage is pretty neat, very special to be at a place like Clemson, and again, the first game I'm coaching in, we're going to play against Auburn in Atlanta, so it's pretty exciting.
Coach Sweeney talked about how well guys have responded to you. What's your feeling on how the guys have responded to you, especially in the last 3 weeks or so?
You don't spend a whole lot of time on it, other than if you have any type of a resistance. That's never good. So it's been good, and I haven't had to really experience that. For the most part, guys, again, have had a great deal of maturity. We've got a strong group of character guys that want to win, that they understand what winning is. There's a strong foundation of success here. So sometimes when you 13 years ago I go to Oklahoma, they hadn't had a winning season in 5 years. There's a lot of elements and obstacles that you're having to fight through. So obviously comes with that is resistance and the resistance to change. So again, it hasn't been that way. So the last 3 weeks, I think our guys have grown more and more confident in what we're doing, and I think that they're excited. I think they feel they can have success. But you still have to go earn it. You have to go earn it every day, and you got to earn it on game day. It's not all going to be easy. It's not all going to be good. It's not all going to be perfect. But I think that's what I'm excited about as much as anything, to see our guys respond in some adverse conditions, and the revealing of character will take place on Saturday.
They named Frazier as the starting quarterback. Does that mean anything to you, or do you still prepare for both of those guys?
Not really. You prepare for a system. He's a big, strong, athletic, highly recruited, talented guy. He's got a big arm. You know, I think it goes without saying they featured him in a more of a quarterback run system last year. I'm very aware of Frazier just coming out of high school, being in Arkansas just a state away. We had at Oklahoma, they had recruited him, so I know he's got a very live arm, and he's still a young guy that obviously they feel very strongly about naming him the starter over Mosley and the other guys there in camp. So again, expect a steady dose of both him and their backs, and again they've got some terrific skill guys to surround them with at both receiver and at tight end. So they've got a nice group of weapons to surround them, and a very, very highly talented offensive line as well.
They have also they're going to have a new center also because of the suspension of the guy they have there. How do you attack that? Do you try to game plan?
I got my own problems. We got a bunch. I say that. I mean, we got a bunch of young guys too that haven't played or haven't been starters full time, and so I'd be a hypocrite if all of a sudden I'm worrying about the opponent as much as you got to worry about yourself and make sure that that you guys have an understanding of what they need to do. Again, playing with toughness and discipline, and just getting lined up, and playing within the confines of the system, not trying to do too much. We're not built for attacking one particular guy right now. We're trying to build a system here, and where 11 guys complement one another.
What has Quanah Christian done since you've been here to improve his game?
I think he's approached the practice field with more of a sense of urgency. That's the biggest, most profound thing that I've seen him do and improve. Just take things have a little bit more focus on a day-to-day basis. I'm still getting to know all these guys, so that's not an indictment on him outside of, I think that's something that he would be willing to admit that he needed to take a better attitude, a better approach.
In terms of trying to fit guys into your system, I mean, how realistic is it that you'll give them all passing grades after this game?
Probably not very realistic. I'm not naive enough to believe like I said, there'll be some good, there'll be some bad, and that's what the season's about. And the best teams I've been associated with get better throughout the course of the year. You find out what your strengths and your weaknesses are through a process, and a game day is part of that process. So putting guys in the right spots, hopefully we have been able to identify that, and but you never know. After the first game, maybe it isn't what you thought it was. So there's hopefully at the end of the day there'll be more passing grades than not, and that means that we've played well. Again, I want to see our guys playing with discipline, toughness, and great effort. And if you have that, you have a strong foundation to build from there.
You mentioned putting guys in the right spots and some unknowns. How important is it to have people like Xavier Brewer and Travis Blanks who can play multiple positions?
Yeah, anytime you have that, it's instant depth. You have those utility type of guys, if you will, the hybrids that can do multiple things. You want them to get really good at a few things instead of really average at a lot. So, it takes a special, both mental and physical makeup, obviously, to be able to do that. So, you like that type of flexibility, obviously.
Anybody in August camp really just, from where you evaluated them in the spring, anybody just really take a major step forward in terms of just progress, rate of progression?
I don't know. That's hard to single out any one particular guy. I've liked the toughness and the fight of our inside players, and Vic Beasley has done some, about in every scrimmage he's done some things that are they're awfully good. Our corners have been very consistent since the spring. Carried that over through fall camp, and really like our three safeties that we have along with Robert Smith. Those four guys, really, been pleased with those guys.
Coach, you talked about the strengths and weaknesses. What would you say the strengths are going into the game for your defensive unit?
I just think that it's the collective group of say our 11 starters. I don't think there's any one strength whether it's a position group or a player over another. I think it's, collectively, I think that they've shown a propensity to play well together, and where they understand each other and what their roles are, just the discipline that it takes. I think that's probably the strength more than anything.
Can this defensive unit be more accountable than, say, last year? There's a lot of missed assignments from last year.
I wasn't here, so I don't really know. And obviously, missed assignments are, those are deal breakers. So, you give them what you hope that they can handle, what they've shown they can handle, and kind of go from there. And if they can't handle it, then you gotta scale back.
Coach called you a caged animal moments ago, getting ready for a game day. Do you feel wired up and ready to get on that field?
I'm no different than I ever do. I mean, I'm excited, but I value and respect the process more than anybody, as much as anybody. I really look forward to today's practice. I know the value of it, and understand that if our guys don't show up today, that we're going to be behind the 8 ball come Saturday night. So. I think that I have a sense of urgency, and the guys that around me do as well. But game day will get here soon enough. I'm excited for it, like everybody, but understand again the process that it takes to get ready for the game.
What is your kind of mission for these next 2 days of practice? What do you hope to accomplish?
You name it, man. Just get better prepared, more confidence in what we're doing, and. Assuredness. There's a lot to look at and prepare for. So, that first game, there's so much an unknown. It's hard to identify an exact DNA, whether it's of a play caller or of the situations or how they're going to utilize, their own personnel. You just don't quite know yet, and that's the. But the same can be said probably about us. So, it's. As excited as you are about playing a team like Auburn on the venue that we're playing, you'd rather open up with 1AA and kind of find out what you're made of. And at the same time, the flip side of it is they're probably thinking the exact same thing. Clemson's an awfully talented football team and very explosive and capable of beating anybody on their schedule. So both teams have to kind of look at it that way.
How do you go about identifying that DNA of a play caller who doesn't have a lot of?
Just look for consistency, the things that travel, whether it's different stops or game to game, the things that are always there that show. So you kind of build it from there, from situations to personnel to plays, all those things combined.
What did you see from the Temple offense?
Physical, tough, very well coached, downhill. Move the pocket, better players than what you think. So that's not all coach speak because we're not playing Temple, So Steve Adazio and Coach Loeffler, they did a great job there. They played well above their talent, did a great job. They got more out of less, physical though, as much as anything.
Brent, do you have an expectation for how the rotation at safety is going to work between Brewer, Meeks, and Hall?
You'd like to feel like you can play all of them until they prove otherwise. I think that they've shown us that they can all play and play winning football. So, hopefully that's a good thing, how we look at it right now going into this week.
What did Tig Willard do to kind of show you this month to give you the edge of a well linebacker?
Just more consistency. That's the biggest thing. Let it go a couple of scrimmages, a couple mini scrimmages, and he just showed a high level of consistency.
Anything else?
I imagine maybe things on your own depth chart that we don't necessarily see are different than what's put out, because there are a lot of, for instance, Corey Crawford or Vic Beasley. Are those some of those positions that are like that? Are they really still up for grabs?
Yeah, you don't really. That's where people haven't necessarily either separated themselves from one another. Maybe they're not. It can be a good thing. Guys are both really pretty good. or maybe there hasn't been as much separation as you want, and maybe somebody is a little bit better, but the other guys can play winning football. So that's or some of it maybe just, maybe one was really good this week and not so good, and then flip the other way the next week in scrimmages. So I'm not trying to be evasive, but I do know that different groups of those and/ors, there's a different set of circumstances. So it'll all shake out. It'll all shake out. If there's an or by it, that means that you'll probably see him at some point in time, sooner rather than later.
It's just one play that starters, so I guess you really got to make it.
Or maybe they're in the rotation, right away. Or maybe you start with it, as long as it's good, you keep it like that. Every position's a little bit different.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
All set.
All right.
Appreciate it.